Critical Hit, a Major Spoilers podcast. Thank you for downloading and sharing this episode with a friend. We are so glad to be back with you this week to share our adventures around the game table, both physically and virtually around the world. And I know at this point you are clapping. Yes, you over there clapping. Yeah, that's what we want. Sam, last time we had a major battle
on Critical Hit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I didn't even have to say it this time.
And I think it's time to see what happens next
on Critical Hit.
On Critical Hit.
So last time
on Critical Hit.
There we go. This time it's feeling.
On
you guys had defeated the hag, and she had touched the great bald cypress tree that she'd been standing by, and it had opened. So Alder, especially after seeing what you just did, you are now certain that this tree is a Dryad's heart tree, and that what she has done is pretty interesting. She has opened it up. You can already tell this tree is going to die. That is inevitable at this point. But it is a huge tree, and there's space inside it. Like it almost doesn't make sense, because if it was hollowed, it shouldn't be able to survive through natural means this way. But fey magic. You think basically she created a magical space within her own tree that she was using to put things in. And you can just sort of see inside, as there's a curtain of moss hanging in front of it.
I think we should pull back the curtain and see what's behind curtain number 3. That's only one.
Is this the real Monty Hall campaign now?
No, that was totally out of character, because that was a cultural reference that Alder does not have. So yes, damn it! Now I'm not in. I'm going to open the curtain, or see if I can step forward and push the curtain aside and see what is inside.
Okay, so inside is for lack of a better word, like a treasure trove, basically. It has a fair number of pieces of like art and relics, but also strange bones. But there's most notable are two things. One is what looks like somewhere between a dais and an altar, that it seems to be set with a moss, and some sort of like bioluminescence is shining on it, though it's hard to make out exactly what is on it from where you're at. And two is a kind of a pile of interesting objects that some of them look, from what you can see, Calician, some of them look Aztec, some of them look like they might have been taken off humans or from like the modern days. So you see some guns and various other things, and then but most notably is a tied to a rather large root, one of those like nubby stalagmite things, with moss, is a woman.
A human woman?
A human woman.
Does she look familiar?
You have never seen her before.
Is this something that only I can look through, or can all of us see?
I mean, you guys could go in.
Let us go in.
Huzzah.
Okay.
Alder will go in first, in case of any magical traps or exploding things.
It does not appear to be trapped. Or at least nothing goes off at this time.
Oh, delayed trap.
So while you're looking for like magical traps and things, you notice the where Tlatska stood, her body is already somewhat fading. It seems to be almost dissolving into the swamp. But one thing that has stayed is a branch that she had been holding during the fight, and that looks significant. It looks like a gnarled piece of wood.
Oh, that does look significant. I'm gonna gank it.
Cool. Yeah, this is. It looks actually, you're having seen a few pieces of dryad magic at this point between your bracers and your gloves. You think that is of the same ilk, and from watching her cast and through a little bit of study and experimentation of your own, you can determine that this is a rod of lesser selective spell.
Ooh.
So I already put that on your sheet.
I do see
but I
that.
can I will give you a link to it so you can look up exactly what it does.
Okay.
But yeah, everyone else can come in.
We enter.
Is the human alive?
So she does not, certainly visibly does not seem dead. People can make heal checks to check her out.
I will step out of the way.
Me too.
Yes.
Chema should probably check this out.
Your heal is better than mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll step in. I've probably been outside just removing roots out of my armpits.
If you're everywhere. Yeah, you're like also
Yep.
soaked with swamp water at this point. It's pretty, you no longer feel the need to, scream. So that's something. And yeah, and as soon as she died, the roots and thorns stopped firing on you. So this woman, she appears to be maybe like either somewhere between like late 50 or late 40s, early 50s. She is quite pale, has black hair that's kind of disheveled looking. Her eyes are closed. She's wearing like clothes that were probably nice at some point, but she's been in a swamp, and so they don't look very good for wear. And she is alive, though barely. It's weird because you can't see any physical injuries on her. You can go ahead and make me a heal check.
28.
Oh, that's great. So this actually, it reminds you a lot of when you were fighting the ghosts, how they had the ability to just suck life out of you. Like, you think that she's just very weak in life. And as you start examining her, you realize that she's got, she's bound, but then she's definitely got something bound up under her, like that she's holding something while she is bound.
Okay, so she's tied up.
Yeah, she's tied up with ropes made out of moss.
So she's like her arms are tied to her body.
Correct.
Okay. And there's something that is underneath all of that.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll try to cut her out.
Okay. So you cut her out, and she had been tied so that her hands were wrapped around a small owl figurine.
Ooh.
Ah.
Is that the thing that you've been looking for?
I believe it is.
So small. I thought it would be bigger.
No. It is a very unassuming relic. Easy to transport and easy to misplace. I'll set it aside and try to revive this person.
Cool. So yeah, with a as you like just even touching it, it feels cold to the touch, and it feels like being touched by that ghost again. Like you can feel it's just like radiating necromantic energy. And even actually now that you're almost you guys are close to it, you like just can both Russell and Alder just roll d20s for me.
Roll a d20, dearly.
17.
Okay.
5.
Okay. You don't get any special sense off of it, Matthew. But Steven, you can just like you can see from it just like all these tendrils that very much remind you of like the lines that ghosts leave to their fetters. Like this thing is bound to a staggering number of ghosts.
Wow. Okay. I tell everybody what I'm seeing.
Okay.
I don't know how to break that, if we need to break that connection.
Do we think it's safe to break?
Well, so if I'm understanding it correctly, Sam, it's drawing power from those spirits
No,
and kind of locking them in?
So it's hard to tell. It is certainly... you wouldn't say that it is drawing power. It's actually kind of the opposite. It is radiating an energy that goes out to any spirit in the area.
Okay.
It effectively is acting as like
As
a
a battery?
secondary. Yes.
Okay.
And what was I going to say? So Chema's trying to revive the woman, and yeah, it's again weird because there's nothing physically that you can tell wrong with her, but you know maybe splash a little water on her, and her eyes flutter open a moment.
Hello, are you okay?
She like looks at you. It's like, oh, no, I'm not.
Well, you're no longer in contact with that artifact, so hopefully you will return to yourself soon. Who are you?
Oh, it would be nice if I had my name is Lynn. Lynn Borison. And I'm still connected to it. I'm still connected to him.
I see.
Who are you?
My name is Chema. I am a Mexican federal police. I was sent to retrieve this item and bring it back to Mexico.
Oh, are you with the... I don't know that I ever got the name from Palmer. I'm sorry. But we were going to make contact with you. There's something here. I saw it. She had it. Something from your church. You need to undo this, or I don't know which will happen sooner. He'll take control over me again, or I'll die.
Okay. What do I need to do?
Oh, I don't know. I just know what he taught me to do to make it radiate death It's something inherent to me. I'm too close to death, and so I can push it more to that side.
Was I given any sort of instructions on how to mitigate it?
So there are were some rituals that for basically maintenance rituals,
Mhm.
but it has. You're a little worried at this point that you don't even know that they'll work. Basically,
Yeah.
you got taught how to give it a tune-up, and now it's wrecked.
Yeah, now it's an airplane.
Yes.
Well, I am not sure if this will work, but I'll give it a shot. Unfortunately, the original plan was to simply bring it back because we assumed that whoever the thief was did not realize what they had in their hands, and I was not expecting them to further use it in this manner. So I'll take the thing and make a little circle, go out, grab a mostly intact dead bird, come back in, use some of its blood, make a paste and apply it.
So make a knowledge religion check.
29.
That's great. So as you're kind of prepping this, it occurs to you that this is a artifact, that belongs to the goddess of life and death. And what this has been done is been pushed too far to one side by someone who is too far to one side. And that what you really want to do is realign it through some kind of great push by someone who's heavy in life magic or use of life magic.
Hey, Alder, come here.
What do we have?
So this thing is sort of a it straddles the line of life and death and has been pushed too far into the side of death. So we need to pull it back towards the center.
What is this?
It is a very old artifact.
Some sort of phylactery, perhaps?
No, I do not think it houses anything, but it's hard to explain. It is, when it is working properly, somewhat like a metronome.
Well, that I understand. So we need to rebalance it.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to attempt to rebalance it with the power of magicalness.
So just kind of.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask you to describe what you're doing.
I'll just be like, so I don't know if there are other ways or if maybe your people have specific things that they do, but this thing tends to react to blood.
So it's too closely tied to the death.
Hmm.
We need to tie it to the life. I wonder what happens if I put blood on it. I mean, I'm full of blood.
Well, either way, I can guide that. Like we can try to use your blood. You wouldn't just be spraying it.
Well, no, it would be targeted blood. It would be not like a blood bath, more just like a blood hand sanitizer. I can try something.
Okay.
So in my pack, which has many things and is around my belt and has the pouches and the things in the pouches, is this a knife that I use for chopping things and cutting things and slicing things and slicing. And I'm wondering, all right, so if I were to take that and perhaps just make a small incision in my hand, allowing me to put some of the life side magic blood like stuff into the equation and see if we all die horribly and end up as soulless husks wandering the swamp forever.
I mean, one can hope.
I mean, worst case scenario.
I'm going to take the lady a good 20 yards away.
Okay. You still have you redisguised yourself, or are you still in lizard form?
Oh crap. Eshin swoops in, throws her over his shoulder, and runs away in a cloud of screams.
I probably would have redisguised myself once I realized there was a human there.
Cool. All right, then she looks at you kind of unrecognizingly as you pick her up, and as you start taking her away, her eyes kind of she seems to see both the hanging judge and Alder for the first time, and so she looks at the hanging judge somewhat disturbed at his mask, and then looks at Alder, and Alder, you can see her eyes just go wide.
Oh, hello. I'm Alder.
Or not Alder, sorry. I meant Russell. Russell.
Oh, Russell, not Alder.
No, she doesn't seem to have any particular reaction to Alder.
Hello.
Yeah, so she sees Russell and the hanging judge for the first time and gives the hanging judge a weird look, but her eyes go real wide when she sees Russell.
It's okay. No one's here to hurt you.
What are you shouldn't be here. What are you doing here?
I'm here to help.
No. You're supposed to be in California where I left you.
Yeah. That's a longer story that you need to take up with what's his name?
Palmer. Palmer brought you here?
Yes. He actually brought me here to build a temple. But I got caught up in this.
Yeah. All I ever wanted was for you to not be involved. And then she kind of swoons.
You got her, Eshin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
You-
maybe Russell should go along. If there is a family connection and it is a family of death speakers, maybe it'll provide further complications.
Yeah. Now, did she say her name?
Was
When I was-
Lynn Borison.
I know,
Yep.
but when we were all in the room?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
No, you guys were
Okay.
all in the room.
Yeah,
All right.
we all. I think we did.
So
I say
we'll
both
go
Russell and I specifically said we backed off, but
Yeah.
I don't know if we backed out of the room or just backed away from.
Oh, I thought you just backed away to so that he could be close.
Sure.
But
let's
even
go
so,
with that.
I probably
were
backed
out of
out
the-
of the room so I could put on a disguise.
Sure, if you backed out of the room, put on a disguise, and then went in and picked her up, let's say you pass Russell when you're leaving the
Okay.
kind of tree space, if he was also out of the room. So I guess you didn't hear her say her name.
Okay.
How do you find this tree, Alder?
I find it quite nice, actually. Wait. What?
Well, is this a bad tree?
That's a good question. Do I believe that this is a bad tree tied to death and evil and stinkiness and, parking tickets and all the negative things in the universe? Frank
So
Student
Miller,
loans.
all like that. Yeah.
this tree is certainly already now dying. It's remarkable because it was alive just moments ago and very old and powerful moments ago, but in no real risk of death. It is dying because its spirit has been severed. This tree is corrupt. It is you can feel it now, and its roots are deep and far-reaching and networked to all the other trees of its kind in the forest. And you think that this land itself actually is desecrated. That the corruption of the trees would make undead more common, and make nature spirits less common. Though, as you're sort of thinking it, your eyes are sort of drawn again to that altar.
I'd like to examine the altar.
Cool.
Alder goes to the altar and alters the altar for Alder as necessary.
So on it, it's a it seems to be made out of again, this is I guess less meaningful to you, though. I mean, it's interesting. The altar itself is clearly woven. It is made out of 4 types of wood that have all been pushed together in a way that would probably make a carpenter's head explode.
Thank goodness I'm
because
not in the room now.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And on top of it are 4 seeds that look very, very different. One is like a giant kind of pod-like seed that is brown. Another looks almost like a melon. It's the one in the center and is really bright green. Then there's off to one perimeter next to the big brown seed is a really bright green acorn. It looks actually very similar to the one that you held to summon the oak man.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the other side of it is looks like a big nut, like almost like a Brazil nut, if you've ever seen one of those, though you don't think that's what it actually is. And then there's a space where it looks like there would be a 5th seed, but there is nothing there. And you can feel free to make a knowledge nature check.
Hey, I'm gonna check some nature, because this all seems familiar from a
Man.
recent magic hallucination.
I'm so bad at mist.
Well, dang, where'd I put all that?
I click wildly around the
nature.
room.
That thing over there has a blue aura around it. It's definitely clickable. All right, kids. How do you feel about a 17?
I feel pretty good about that. So yeah, you can identify actually each of these seeds in turn. The biggest one, the bright green one, is a bald cypress seed, and the small kind of nutty one is a palmetto seed. The bright green one is, as you previously discussed, a white oak seed, and the pod-like one is a mahogany seed. And you've never seen a dryad seed before, but you would guess that each of these is associated with one of the dryads that lived here, and that if you planted it and cared for it, a tree would grow and a dryad would live in it.
Well, then. I think we should gather those. But actually, now that I think about it, should we or shouldn't we? Should we just run about it and think of it? Do they? They're just sitting on the altar, yes?
Yep.
They're not like attached to the altar mystically.
Nope. They seem to be there like for safekeeping.
Yes, I believe I shall gather these 4 dryad seeds.
Cool. They feel like warm and alive and powerful in your hands.
Ooh, I am immediately overwhelmed by evil. I am corrupted and turned into a giant ball of fire. And no, wait.
All right, sounds good.
I've been playing too much Diablo. Okay. I'm going to place them carefully in places in my pouches of safety, so that each of them can be planted again, because I think that might be part of how we're going to get past all of this blightiness that got us here in the first place. So just as an aside, we previously saw the brain movie thing.
Not sure which one you're referencing.
The origin of the hag.
Yes.
Do these correspond somewhat to... Okay.
Yes. Each of them correspond. You could make an educated guess, in fact, that the empty one would be possibly Noctli, the cactus dryad. I
wonder what a cactus looks like.
It's a prickly pear.
It would look like a prickly pear.
Oh, well, those aren't even cool looking.
What?
I'm from the Midwest, dude.
But we go take Sunbridge.
Somewhere Noctli is thinking of taking away all the magic items she gave you.
Fortunately, I didn't say that with a funny accent, so it totally wasn't in character. Ha ha! You guys wonder why I talk funny in character. Okay, so I have these items.
Oh, you just talk funny.
All right. All right. You had your window.
Yeah. There's a kettle on the phone for you, Rob. Okay, so looking at this altar, having gathered these 4 seeds, is the altar seems to be something basically. Is it for like keeping them in a place of exalted for later possible replanting and rebuilding of dryads, or is there something else going on here?
I mean, you'd say that that's probably what it's for. Like altar seemed to be, it was kind of your context for it, but your mom was never big on talk about religion or anything like that. So you think that's probably more of like or almost like an ark as opposed to an actual place of worship.
Got it. That makes perfect sense. And my mother also had a tendency to use nonsense words halfway in between Sylvan and something resembling English. So Doomaflachi, I don't know what it means, but this may be it. Okay. This is good. We have these. We know this. I was in the middle of another thought.
Just you were going to assess the tree and
I believe that these are dryad seeds. And I'm almost certain that these may be part and parcel of this whole thing. What was I saying about the other thing?
Well, I asked you what the state of this tree was, if it is fundamentally corrupted, or
it is certainly dying, and much more rapidly than I might have expected. But then again, we did sort of kill its spirits, its spirit is dead nonetheless. I think perhaps not here.
Okay, that is fine. We need to leave this place anyway. But everyone should be aware that if we are traveling with this thing, this is going to attract problems. So we need to find some place suitable quickly.
Sooner rather than later. Do there seem to be any other items here that might be of use or interest? Something, perhaps bathed in a column of golden light or glowing with kind of an orange outline, or
there's nothing so dramatic as the altar, but a few other things that you do catch that are kind of note. In actually relatively near the altar is a wooden box, and it has the symbol of actually Mr. Palmer's railroad company on it. And in the pile of kind of stuff, there is a sash that seems to be made out of from what you just saw, terror bird feathers. That looks pretty dramatic.
Sir, would I have any chance of possibly seeing anything unusual about that item, perhaps with my knowledge of nature or arcana or animal handling, because it was once a bird?
I would give you nature or arcana.
Dude, you gotta leverage your skills.
Fair enough.
I mean, I'm handling it. It was once an animal. QED. Which is better? Oh, they're equal now. Oh, well, heck. I'll do both. That way I'll get a plus 16.
Not quite how that works.
Like magic.
Do they still do synergy bonuses for skills? That was so annoying.
They do not.
That's good.
Yeah, that was really, really problematic.
I think this looks more arcana. Something makes me think arcana.
Okay. So you think that this is a object of power, and you think it might give whoever wears it basically something that is you're not really sure. This is clearly a cultural relic, and that you think that it would give whoever wears it something associated with the feather, something associated with terror birds, but you're not sure exactly what.
I wonder if you could fly.
The terror birds can't fly.
Yeah, they're flightless birds.
I wonder if you could peck things.
By the way, this is really great because Chema's like, "Hey, Alder, how do you feel about this tree?" And Alder's eyes just keep glazing over as he looks around. And he's like, "Look at these seeds!" And like picks them up. And I'm like, "What were we talking about? The tree? Is it a good tree?" It's like, "Look at these feathers."
Going to hand the feathers to Chema and see if he can tell you anything. And I'm going to look at that box. Look at this thing. Isn't it neat? Does it have a fork in it?
The box? No, it does not have a fork in it. It clearly is a box that can open, if that's what you're asking for.
I believe I shall open the box.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to rifle through everything in the trunk of a dying tree.
In the trunk of the trunk of a dying tree.
Right? This is a metaphor for my whole life.
So the box inside it has two things. One is a foot-long railroad spike, and two is a set of rosary beads.
Oh. Look at this.
What is it?
It seems to be a set of beads and a railroad spike.
Oh, just it's a rosary.
Ah.
Yeah, taking a look at those are definitely, like, stylistically, you are pretty sure that those belong to someone from your, like, specifically from your church.
Mm-hmm. I'll pick it up and like have a closer look at it.
Yeah, you can just actually, again, feel like this has been invested. It much like your gun was handled like enough that it had power invested in it. These also have power invested in them. And I will send you. They are lesser prayer beads, or a lesser stand-up prayer beads.
Do you know what they are?
Yes, there's a side effect to people who have the powers that I have, in that the objects that you handle get invested in that sort of thing. I assume that this belonged to someone who was very similar to me and was probably towing the line a little bit more.
Are they something you could make use of?
I think so.
We should ask Russell about this railroad spike, perhaps.
Yes. Is there anything else here that is of value?
Perhaps. I don't see anything in particular, but it's very difficult to focus in this setting. This may be more than just... But no, I think if we're going to do what we are trying to do, I think we will probably want to be out of the tree.
Yes. You wouldn't happen to think whether our prickly benefactor would allow us to come into her territory with this? It just really seems like the only place that I have seen so far that might be conducive to some sort of alignment ritual.
I'd say it's a possibility. If we have what we think we have, I think that may actually be our best option.
Well, let's go talk to the others about it.
I'm going to grab the box with the spike.
Okay. Do you also get the feathers?
The feathers.
Yeah, I still have those.
Oh, okay.
I gave
cool.
the feathers to Chema.
Gotcha.
Anything else we want to grab on the way out? Any boots of magic flying or
Nope.
cloak of utter invincibility or mask of hiding that you are August Weskerly? Wait, I'm the only one that knows that.
Yes.
That's
for
right.
now.
Okay.
Somebody's in line for a psychic gig.
Oh no.
The hanging
Oh.
judge and Noosie.
Also, since this guy can shoot fire out of his brain, this is definitely going to be an Aquaman Tempest situation.
I can't decide whether I want to be Noosie or whether I should just be Lasso the Boy Wonder.
Oh, you could. Oh, did we already had a bailiff, right? It's like the
Yeah, the dog. He'll eventually have a dog named Bailiff.
The bailiff, yeah. I've got it. You can call me the Gavel.
All right.
Exhibit A.
Ooh, that's good. A for Alder. What?
We walk out of the train.
Cool.
We're riffing when we shouldn't be. All right, I'm serious too. Okay.
The prosecutor.
The defense press. Okay, so we shall exit. Everyone is now out of the tree. Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
say-
believe so.
Russell and I have been out of the tree for a while.
Yeah, I don't know
Wasn't
that the hanging judge ever went in the tree, so.
I wasn't sure if the judge was out or not, so
Well, once everyone else leaves, certainly.
he'll slink out of the shadows.
He just zips up the tree and is like, I live here now.
Gonna have the best treehouse.
This is my new lair.
Yes.
Criminals allowed. Okay.
How's she doing?
The hanging tree.
That's a good one. I was going to go with the courtroom.
She is still unconscious.
She's out right now. Can we tell that she's badly injured? Or just beyond? I mean, does she have cuts and gashes or?
She has
general
actually,
bruisings?
again, no visible injuries on her.
Okay.
Who knows
It is
how-
her. Yes, it is her life force that is the issue. She is tied to this thing, and it is both killing her and keeping her alive, as it were.
Why can we not just destroy it?
Because we don't know enough to destroy it. Also, I imagine that after hundreds of years, people have tried to destroy it and it hasn't worked.
So do we need to get it to a church, holy grounds? I mean, it was in your organization's protection, right?
Yes. So here is what I have so far. This has been thrown out of alignment, as it were. The only way to bring it back to a place where we can actually functionally operate with it without it turning the environs into a horrible ghost swamp is if we perform some sort of ritual using some sort of a strong life force. But we cannot do it here. So we have to... I am wondering if we can actually travel back to the prickly pear forest and see if Noctli will let us.
By just having it, does that create the blight? Will it infect the forest where they're at?
It might.
I believe that it's already infected. They were seeing the effects of the blight when we were there previously. I'm not certain if the presence of the artifact would make that any worse at this point.
Oh no, it certainly would.
Mm-hmm.
This would have to be a a situation where, in my opinion, this would be the best place to do it. It would give us the highest advantage in a magical moving cactus forest. I assume the life energies in that will be quite vibrant, but it would be a risk. From here on out, it is all risk. In case Jewel had not figured it out.
Especially if somehow Miller finds a way to intercept us.
Yes, all of that is an assumption that we have to make. Any amount of time that we spend traveling with this is going to be extremely dangerous. We can try to simply get outside of the swamp, outside of the immediately corrupted area, and attempt to do something there. But I think there is a real, there could be a real advantage if Noctli was to help us out.
Agreed.
Do you think we can get there quickly with Mr. Oakman?
They can but try. Do we have a way to contact him?
I mean, he had dropped you off very close to where you guys are now.
Yeah.
And
I, out of character, I think we have something that he was looking for.
Right, but will he necessarily know that if we were like to hold it up to our ear and yell into it?
Well, no, but we can walk over to where he's at.
Where he dropped us off at least.
Yeah.
Let us make haste then. Even though we don't have the spell.
Is Eshin carrying the lady?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll show him the sash. Is this a Calician thing?
Sam?
Yeah. That is so that is a sash of terrorbird feathers. And to wear something like that would have to be like a particularly impressive and fearsome warrior. And the idea of making a sash out of that would be to grant you some of the bird's strength.
Yes, it is a item given to some of our greatest warriors when they are able to wear one of these. It is a boon to them. They are able to channel the bird's strength.
Oh, well, here you go. And I will like unceremoniously just like put it like over it, like through his head, or like put his head through it. Here you go. By the power vested in me, you are a fantastic warrior. You did just kill a hag and a giant lizard monster and a bunch of ghosts.
And then Rob, that is a belt of giant strength +2.
Woo! I hit harder. That's all I want to do.
I know.
Said +2?
Mm-hmm.
Woo! I now have a 22.
That's a lot.
Yes, it is. Everything is +1 now.
Matthew, did you spend any time like actually analyzing the railroad spike?
No, but I can. Shall I? Yes.
Sure.
Yes, I shall. I shall try to get Russell's attention as I look at this thing. Shall I roll something?
Yeah, make a spellcraft check.
Spellcraft. Or craft and spell.
And actually, you can. Chema can also make a knowledge religion check.
Okay.
Wow, my spellcraft is good now. I may not have updated my numbers right in the last time we leveled up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you hadn't leveled your skills in a while.
What the what? What just happened?
You rolled an 8.
It rolled 2. What the? I'm scared.
Yeah, it largely looks like you rolled an 8, which it's not bad.
Well, it gave me 9 plus 8, and then it gave me 8 plus 9, and I'm scared. Can I roll that differently?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
That is weird.
I'm going to try that rolling again because it scared me.
Your computer is haunted, Matthew.
Normally, I wouldn't say that, Sam, but can I do that? Guess it's scared.
No.
Well, 8 plus
So-
9 and 9 plus 8 aren't the same thing.
It's the same result, so congratulations, you got a 17.
I wonder if you can roll a randomly sized die.
That
Uh,
so that last one was something you rolled like 20 minutes ago.
yeah,
sure?
that was your 17
Yeah.
on a knowledge nature check.
Oh,
Yeah.
math is hard. Okay.
So from your spellcraft check, this spike has been blessed. And from as like and you think there's also something else going on there that you're not exactly sure what. Chema, you think that this is actually a minor fetter. There's some ghost that has an imprint, has made an imprint on this.
Oh.
Did not like that.
Hey Russell, what do you see in this?
Okay, railroad spike. You know, all right. We know that Palmer was. Didn't he want to get a spike blessed or something? Let's look at this thing. And I look at it. And I examine it.
You are corrupted. You turn into a giant ball of fire.
How do you examine it?
I will open my third eye. And I will look for any mystical thingies.
That's a technical term, kids. Don't try this at home.
Well, do I detect any, spirit magics, or do I get any vibes
I guess
from this?
As you start examining it, you actually see the ghost of Mr. Greenwood appear. And he sort of looks around somewhat confused, and then sees the disintegrating body of the hag and nods, and then looks at your group again, and then looks at the hanging judge, and then suddenly you can also see the judge can also see him as he his form manifests briefly, and he says, "You have sworn to do right by the people of Redemption."
Yes.
"Then avenge me."
Very well.
And he just walks over to you and puts his hands on your noose. And you feel it it goes because that same kind of cold in your grip. And he's and then he disappears. And you can add the vengeful modifier to your weapon. I will send you that link because it's a little hard to look up.
So this was indeed the spike that Mr. Greenwood took to have blessed. He was just here.
Oh.
Do you want this, hanging judge? Or should we put it back in the box, or...
Then leave it in the box for now, I suppose.
Okay. Can I detect any ill will being generated by this spike? Is this something that is, needing to be cleansed or anything like that?
No, you actually think that the spike is, you get like a good feeling off of the spike.
All right.
It feels holy.
All right. Well, then let us put this back in the case, and let us go find the Oak Man. Eshin, I don't think you'll have any problem carrying her.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, she's light and small.
And I got stronger. Which makes her lighter.
Not sure that's how it works.
Feels like it.
That's not quite how physics works.
Relatively. So you guys go back to where you left the Oak Man, and there is a small oak tree that kind of looks like an old man.
He was trying not to root.
Do we need to shake him a little bit? Shake him. Hello?
The thing that kind of looks like, where his face was, just opens very, the eyes open very slowly. It says, "What? I'm sleeping here."
We need transportation. We need your help. Again.
It looks down at his roots. It's like, it's gonna be a one-way trip.
Is it possible to dig you up?
Oh, I'm too far gone for that, I'm afraid.
We need to get to the cactus forest.
We need to get to see Noctli.
Oh, Noctli, that's who we need to get to see.
No true trees there, I'm afraid.
Can you get us close?
I can get you back where you came from.
To start.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. That's back to your village, right?
I think so.
Okay. And is there anything we can do for you?
Did you find my mistress's seed?
I look to Alder.
I don't think we saw him grab anything. We weren't in that.
I know, that's why I said I look to Alder.
Well, we don't even know he's got anything.
Oh, okay.
Is what I'm saying. We wouldn't have that information at all. Alder didn't really share the seeds with us. He just kind of looked at everything.
We did.
Then his branches sort of sway very lightly and says, then plant the seed and take care of her for me.
We will do so.
And he, then the branches sort of sway a bit, and that kind of greenish portal opens in himself, actually.
I guess we enter.
Yes.
Cool.
Carefully and respectfully.
And this is you don't have him guiding you this time, so it's a lot more jarring. And it feels like a bumpier ride, but you think it's actually going more slowly than it did before. It's hard to tell. And then you come out the other side and are you're not actually at the as close to the village as you were last time. You're probably still like a half day's walk towards it.
Okay. Well, I guess we start walking, and I think that's where we'll wrap it up this week for Critical Hit. Thank you so much for downloading and listening and being part of this experience. If you got some value out of this show, head over to majorspoilers.com and click on that Patreon link, or you can jump right over to patreon.com/majorspoilers, and you can give a little value back. Every little bit helps, as it helps us to produce this show week after week. So for D&D Brian and Rob and Matthew and Sam and Rodrigo and myself, here's hoping all of your dice rolls are critical hits.
This podcast is copyright 2017 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.